Again, let me urge you to try these different positions with a very good friend and see how they feel, save the martyr relationship, and then speak or write about the feelings that you've experienced. Which of these positions describes your past relationship? Many people over the years in my seminars stated that they thought that their relationships went through almost all of the unhealthy body positions. Did you discover the cause of the ending of your relationship from this body sculpting? These unhealthy relationships seem to suggest a half person looking for another half person. So, now you are becoming more of a whole person, your chance of developing a healthy, healing relationship is greatly increased. We tend to act out our internal feelings in our relationships, so if you're angry, you probably express your anger in your relationships. If you're lonely, you tend to be possessive in the relationship in order to keep the person from leaving you and making you lonely again. If you are in deep emotional pain, you're likely to have a relationship which is full of pain. If you have a wounded feeling, then you distance others to avoid bumping such a wounded heart. Many of us seek relationships with people who have qualities we're missing in ourselves. If you're introverted and want to be more comfortable around people, you choose an extrovert. Lacking confidence, you choose a person who exudes confidence as a relationship. To meet your need to feel guilty, you develop a relationship with someone who makes you feel guilty. And of course, the coin also has a positive side. If you are happy, confident, and feel lovable, you enter a relationship with someone with whom you can act out those feelings. We can learn much about ourselves by looking at our relationships. What feelings are you expressing in your relationships? Is there a pattern? i.e., do you always bring home a stray cat? Do your relationships reflect good feelings, or do they reflect neediness? Another major factor in our relationship styles is one I've mentioned before, the interaction we had with our own parents. Each of us learned how to respond to love, anger, rejection, and intimacy from our parents or adults close to us in our childhood world. If these adults fought, then you're likely to have a very tough time with fights. If these adults were cold and untouching, then you may find it difficult to touch and handle warm emotions. Many a relationship is not satisfactory because the partners are interacting like the adults did in their childhood world. Jeff told me, relationships might be like a pot of stew. If you don't make it right in the first marriage, you keep doing it over and over until you get it right. In my first committed relationship, I was acting out the unproductive patterns I'd learned as a child. I didn't change internally after we parted and ended our relationship, so I continued to act out those patterns in my second relationship. After the end of our relationship, we often regress and interact the way we did earlier in our life. Now, this can be positive. Becoming a healthy, balanced person emotionally is like climbing the slide in the playground. You progress so far, then you lose your grip and slide back down. Then the next time you're able to climb to a higher point. In our relationships, after they end, many people are reworking the patterns of interaction they learned from adults in their childhood world in order to make those patterns more productive. So the problem of trust is largely internal rather than external, and understanding your past is helpful in understanding who you are now. Becoming aware of ourselves, our patterns of interaction, and our methods of dealing with relating to others allows us choices. So now to rebuilding. Where do I meet someone is the next question, and the answer is right where you are now. People go to bars, singles groups, classes, in their attempts to meet people. But take care, the bar scene, for example, typically includes many lonely people who cannot relate until they're slightly under the influence. And the bar hoppers are often the game players, out to practice and improve their games, frequently with sex being the goal of the game. Singles groups, too, have a certain amount of desperation and loneliness about them. So, back to the question, where do I meet someone? Often indicates that you're looking for a committed, long-term partner. Perhaps at this stage still you're somewhat desperate and sending out desperate vibrations with body language, vocabulary, and the look in your eyes, which tends to drive people away. Perhaps somewhat desperate and sending out desperate vibrations with body language, vocabulary, and the look in your eyes, which tends to drive people away. As a colleague of mine many years ago said, when you're hungry and someone walks up to you, then they can be left feeling like they might be the next main meal. We are nearing the end of our work now, so take care not to rush, as this particular building stage must be securely in place before you proceed. Let's just go through this checklist that I've created. 1. I can trust men and women to whom I would be attracted to. 2. I've begun to understand that men and women are much more alike than different in their responses to feelings such as love, hate, intimacy, and fear. 3. I can trust myself with my feelings. 4. I can trust my feelings enough to act on them. 5. I'm not afraid of becoming emotionally close to a potential partner. 6. I'm aware of the ways that I distance people. 7. I'm building relationships that will help me to heal. 8. I'm building, healing, and trusting relationships with friends of both sexes. 9. I understand that not everyone is capable of being trusted. 10. I'm capable of trusting someone when it is appropriate. 11. I want to heal and experience intimacy again. 12. I'm trying to live in the present in my relationships with all people. 13. I realize that many of the early relationships after my separation may be short-term. 14. I'm taking risks in my relationships by exposing my true feelings and thoughts. And finally, 16. I am truly interested in the friends around me rather than desperately looking for another relationship.